So we're going to check out one last example of an absolute value equation. In this case, we have an absolute value on the left hand side and an expression on the right hand side. So we're going to solve the same way we solved the previous examples, and we're going to just assume that x minus 2, which is what is inside the absolute value, is going to be equal to 3x plus 1, or to the opposite. So in this case, we're going to write the opposite, so just a negative sign before it. Or we have that x minus 2 is going to be equal to, well, 3x plus 1 itself. We have to distribute the negative sign in here. So we obtain negative 3x minus 1. And now we're going to solve it normally. So we're just going to add 3x on both sides. I'm going to do it step by step. Might take a bit longer, but we obtain 4x minus 2 is equal to negative 1. And now we obtain, adding 2 on both sides, that 4x is equal to 1, and dividing by 4 we get that x is 1/4, and that is our first solution. On this side here, we're just gonna do the same steps so that is clear. We get negative 2x minus 2 is equal to 1, and now we're gonna add 2 on both sides, so we get negative 2x equals 3, and that means that, well, if we divide both sides by negative 2, that means that x is going to be equals to negative 3/2. So our solutions are 1/4 and negative 3/2, but we need to check them. And we're going to check them not in the equations that we obtained, but in the original equation, this one over here. So we're going to plug in 1/4 minus 2, that's left hand side, and now we're going to plug in the right hand side, so it'll be 3 times 1/4 plus 1. And here 1/4 minus 2 is going to be equal to negative 7/4. Negative 7/4, just do the math. And here we're going to obtain, well, this is 3/4 plus 1, which is 4/4. It's going to be 7/4 positive. And if we calculate the absolute value here, we're going to obtain, well, absolute value of negative 7/4 is just 7/4. And here you obtain 7/4, so you obtain that this is actually a solution. Now we're going to plug in here, so that's going to be negative 3/2 minus 2 has to be equal to 3 times negative 3/2 plus 1. And so negative 3/2 minus 2, which is 4/2, is going to be negative 7/2. And here, well, that's negative 9/2 when we multiply, and when we add 1 we get negative 7/2. Just doing the math. Now we have to find this absolute value, which is 7/2, and that's going to be, well, according to this solution, it will be equal to negative 7/2, but we know that this is not true, and so we say that x equals negative 3/2 is an extraneous solution. Extraneous solution. And what is an extraneous solution? Well, it's just a solution that shows up in the process of solving the equation. It showed up in the process of solving this one, but when you check in the original equation, it's not actually a solution. It doesn't check. That's an extraneous solution. So in conclusion, this equation has only one solution, which is this one, x equals 1/4. That's our only solution. So we only have one solution.